You know, our world today demands so much from us. More focus, more productivity, more energy. It never stops. And for millions of people, the answer to that pressure comes in a little pill. We're talking about amphetamines, drugs with a really unique promise. They don't just help you escape reality, they promise to help you master it. And is it really any surprise that millions of brains are running faster than evolution ever planned? I mean, in just the last 15 years, amphetamines have become one of the fastest growing drug markets on the entire planet, second only to cannabis. What we're looking at is a massive modern experiment in neurochemistry happening in real time. So what's the big deal? What's this incredible promise that pulls so many people in? Well, it's not about escaping or checking out. It's about something else entirely: raw performance. And the range of people using them is just staggering. We're talking about soldiers giving these drugs to stay alert in combat, students cramming for final exams, and high-powered professionals in fields like tech, finance, even surgery. This isn't some fringe thing. It's a tool that's perfectly aligned with our most mainstream ambitions. And that's really the key difference here. Unlike a lot of other drugs, amphetamines aren't about tuning out the world. They're about tuning in, harder, faster, and for longer than anyone around you. It's all about getting that edge. So, how do they actually pull this off? How do they supercharge you? Well, the science behind it is pretty fascinating. It all boils down to tricking your brain into flooding itself with two really important chemicals. Okay, think of it like this. You've got dopamine, which is the part of your brain that basically screams, yes, this thing right here, this matters. It's your motivation chemical. But, motivation is pretty useless on its own. That's where noradrenaline comes in. It's the part that says, okay, here are the tools. It makes you alert, sharp, and gives you that laser-like focus. And here's the kicker. Unlike a cup of coffee or even cocaine, which gives you this quick, intense peak and then you crash, amphetamines lift you up and just hold you there for hours and hours. You're not just awake. It's like you're plugged into some hidden power source where things like hunger and fatigue just dissolve. Now, of course, the primary medical use for these drugs is for ADHD. To put it simply, the ADHD brain is kind of constantly searching for a reward signal that makes it hard to focus. Amphetamines basically provide that missing chemical reward, allowing a scattered mind to suddenly lock in. And with ADHD diagnoses just skyrocketing, so has the amount of legal prescribed amphetamine out there in the world. So I know what you're thinking. This is starting to sound almost too good to be true, right? Like some kind of miracle pill for our hyperproductive world. But this is where our story takes a very sharp turn, because that incredible boost comes with an incredibly serious cost. Let's start with the immediate downsides, the things you might feel after just one or two uses, the so-called unpleasant side effects. Let's imagine a scenario. You've got a huge paper due tomorrow. The pressure is on. So you take a pill to get that legendary hyperfocus everyone talks about. And the focus comes, all right? It hits you like a tidal wave. But instead of channeling that incredible focus into your essay, you spend the entire night meticulously reorganizing every single file and icon on your computer. You've been amazingly productive at the absolute wrong thing. So congrats on the clean desktop, I guess, but you still failed the class. And then comes the crash. See, that same chemical that makes you focused, noradrenaline, also controls your fight or flight response. It can so easily tip over into intense anxiety, maybe even a full-blown panic attack. You get irritable, impatient, you totally forget about basic human needs like eating or sleeping, and then when the drug finally wears off, your mood just hits rock bottom, leaving you exhausted, depressed, and somehow even more anxious than before. And this is where a really dangerous cycle begins. Your brain gets used to these artificial highs. Over time, you start needing more and more of the drug just to get that same effect. And pretty soon, you're not taking it to get an edge anymore. You're taking it just to feel normal, just to be able to function at all. The tool has officially become a crutch. So the short-term effects are bad enough. But what happens when use becomes chronic? Well, this is where the risks escalate from just unpleasant to, honestly, truly life-destroying. That flood of chemicals that once brought you so much clarity can actually overwhelm the brain, leading to psychosis. This is a terrifying state where you literally lose your grip on what's real and what's not. For most people, it fades when the drug wears off, but for some, it can trigger full-blown, permanent schizophrenia. And while your brain is in chaos, your heart is under siege. Amphetamines speed everything up, putting just constant, relentless strain on your entire cardiovascular system. And this isn't some minor risk. We're talking about serious, long-term damage that can lead to heart attacks, torn arteries, and strokes, even in young people who are otherwise perfectly healthy. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you realize these drugs aren't simple. They aren't just good or bad. They exist in this massive modern gray zone. And in a way, they reflect the very world that we've all built. The sheer demand for these drugs really says something profound about our culture. We've created a society that rewards this relentless, nonstop productivity. A society that has, in many ways, just nuked our natural ability to pay attention, and then conveniently offers a chemical fix for the very problem it created. So let's lay it all out. Here's the final balance sheet. On one side, you have this incredible promise, hyperfocus, motivation, endless productivity. But on the other side of the ledger is the terrifying price: anxiety, addiction, psychosis, and severe physical harm. The trade-off is, well, it's stark. And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. Amphetamines can absolutely brute force your brain into doing what you want it to do right now. But they don't teach you anything. They don't help you build sustainable habits or grow as a person. They're a shortcut. And as we all know, shortcuts almost always have hidden tolls. Which leaves us with one final big question. In our relentless pursuit of more, are we actually solving an underlying problem with these drugs? Or are we just forcing our own biology to keep up with a world that is becoming increasingly, and maybe even dangerously, unsustainable?